Hi everyone and welcome to the Empowered You podcast. I'm Chavi Israel, your host, speaking to you from Sydney, Australia. After October 7, I found myself in uncomfortable situations, not sure how to respond or navigate. That's why I created the Empowered You, first an organization and now a podcast to equip you with the knowledge, skills, and tools surrounding Israel and your Jewish identity. In each episode, we'll explore various topics from multiple perspectives so that you can feel informed, empowered, and proud of who you are. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Hi everyone, it's Chavi Israel here. This interview is with Sreuvi Lazarus, a local Chabad guy in the community who I have known for a while now, and he was there selling biltong and other snacks and managed to, thank God, survive with his children, specifically with his daughter he was protecting. And Sreuvi unfortunately saw a lot of what went on, a lot of the tragedy. He saw the carnage. He was unbelievable and sprung into action and actually helped a 4-year-old little girl who was missing. He held her for over an hour, trying to find her parents and take her to safety. Every experience is unique. I have my story of protecting and shielding my baby. Sreuvi was very much aware of what was going on, very alert, watching the terrorists as they were shooting, saw things that people should never see in their lives, and was there after helping, assisting, finding children, and just being there. So I hope that you all benefit from this episode, have a better understanding of the atrocities that occurred on that fateful first night of Chanukah, the 14th of December, that we will never forget ever. And we are forever broken and shattered. And I feel when I record these episodes, they're truly moments of history, and people's testimonies need to be recorded. Sreuvi and I are now actually collecting miracle stories, hashgacha pratis stories. So if anyone has one themselves, please email me. I'll put the details in the description and you can send it to me. And I'm also going to be putting in the link for a dear friend, both Sreuvi and my family, Rabbi Yaakov Levitan, Alav Shalom. If people can donate to his family, that would be greatly appreciated. And please God, we should only share good news and simchas with each other. Hello, Sreuvi.
Hi, Chavi.
It's nice to chat. I'm friends with your sister Rivka, who I love and adore, and I've known you for a while now. I guess we're chatting really because we are both survivors of the Bondi Chanukah terrorist attack, which even as I'm saying that, I'm still in disbelief that this even really happened. And yeah, I know I'm using the word survivors because I don't really know what other word to use, even though I don't feel like we did anything to survive, it was really Hashem. But anyways, we're here and you can go into as much detail as you feel comfortable. Share with us your story. What happened to you on that evening?
Yeah, firstly, it's good to chat. Good to be on your podcast. I was there with a couple of my kids who were involved with the event. So my son was selling tickets and I was selling some snacks, some biltong and a couple other snacks. And my daughter was there with me, helping me on the day and then during the event with some sales. And we didn't really have a space, a proper stand. So we set up in one of the pergolas next to the gelato stand at the sort of the end of the park, even though when you go back, it's all right there. You don't feel like any part of the park is far. And it wasn't a good spot, so I moved next to the hot dog stand where they were serving the hot dogs, and I made a makeshift table with some bread crates, and we were standing there for the next half an hour or so until everything happened. My daughter was sort of running in and out, or back and forth. She was helping me and then going with her friends and getting food and going to a couple of the entertainment. And at the time when it started, she was standing in line for the 9D truck, cinema truck, which was just a couple meters in front of me. Yep, and then pandemonium, chaos. It all happened so quickly. And Her friends ran, she came to me, we immediately ducked.
I just want to pause you for a second. You're in the middle of selling biltong, and then you hear noises. What did you think the noises were?
So I wasn't dealing with anyone at the time. I was on my own, probably spacing out a bit, and we're just taking in the event. My initial thought was firecrackers, like not fireworks, sort of who's lighting fireworks, but firecrackers. That's just like stupid, and who live in the middle of the crowd. And as I heard the first sound, I looked to my left into the middle of the park. So I'm in the corner, and I looked into the middle of the park where all the chairs were, and I saw like a cloud of dust, like some. So my initial thought was like firecrackers. I'm like, yeah, so who did that in the middle of the crowd? That's just stupid and dangerous.
Yeah.
Right away, this is all like in milliseconds.
Yeah, 100%.
And 2 seconds later, more shots, and more noises, and it's everyone seemed like everyone realized at once, or most people realized at once, and it was either duck or run. To me, it seemed like a lot of people ran. It was, from my vantage point, people just started running everywhere, and before I could even look for my kids, or my daughter was next to me, and I just told her, "You just ducked."
I know exactly where you guys were. I didn't come over actually and say hi. I usually always say hi, but I was chatting to a few people. I was chatting to Alana and Ben for a long time about sleep training my baby, and then about them going to Israel. But I know exactly where you are, and I feel like people think that this is like, it looks a lot bigger, the park, I think, on Google Maps than in real life. Like, it's a very small, condensed area. It's so fascinating also to hear your story, because I have a different story, different perspective. And where I was by the petting zoo area, by the front, I felt that everyone in my area was ducking. I didn't see anyone running, but you were a bit more in the back, so to speak. And so it's interesting that you say that you saw lots of people running. Did you manage to find anything to cover yourself? And you and your daughter, were you guys like huddled together under something as the shooting was happening?
So yeah, we were at the back of the park. Again, you're in the petting zoo was as you walked in on the left, very much exposed. We were at the back of the park. It's call it a 50, 60 meters away, but also at that point it starts, the park starts like slanting a bit down towards the car park, which is by the beach side, and there was a table with tablecloths in it. So we were hidden, but we weren't protected. So we were hiding behind a whole bunch of bread crates. Nothing protective, but hidden.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bright orange donut crate on top of me, so I kind of had something.
So I was hiding behind 5 of those, like stacked up.
Yeah.
So we were out of sight and lying flat. So, and they also at an angle. So I guess in a sort of a good, somewhat safe position, but not protected. Any of those bullets would have gone straight through those crates without a problem.
I know. I remember thinking, because I had the crate, and then I remember holding baby wipes on like the other side, thinking, okay, the headlines are going to be "Baby Wipe Saves Baby." Meanwhile, obviously no idea what type of weapons they had.
Yeah.
And I don't know, those were hunting guns, like baby wipes, crates, it doesn't matter what the hell you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to do it.
And when you and your daughter were underneath, was your daughter freaking out? Was she crying? Was she aware of what was happening? Were you aware? What were the sounds? What was going through your mind as you are lying on the floor?
Well, my first thought, immediately I told her to just duck. Well, yeah, we just ducked, and I told her to lie flat, and she immediately started freaking out, saying I'm scared and crying, and yeah, like she was pretty, traumatized. So I had a few thoughts. The immediate thoughts of it. Firstly, like, it's happening. This is it. Whatever we've heard about in other countries and in Israel, wherever, it's happened. Now it's happening here. It's real. It's not believable and as unfathomable as it was. Now, this is it. And lying with my daughter, my my focus was on her. Just this is. I didn't think. I wasn't scared. That we weren't going to make it. I wasn't scared we're going to die. It's totally, out of my hands, and it's just. But we're lying down, we're covered, or we're hidden, and we're, like, if we get through this, and please God will, it's going to be extremely, she's going to be traumatized. This is not going to be pretty. So I need to do, right now, already I need to start calming her and getting through it with her to make it as least traumatic as possible. Through that first minute of just non-stop shooting, just sort of trying to calm her. We said a bit of Tehillim. She said it, but she's like crying through it, and I'm scared, and I'm just doing my best to get her to breathe. That was whatever I could do in that moment.
Can you tell us how old your daughter is?
She's 9, almost 10. So and then there was a bit of a lull in the shootings. Gave me an opportunity to look around, assess the situation, and I realized it wasn't like a machine gun. It sounded like a rifle or something, and maybe someone with a sniper gun. I don't know if you remember, there was that shooting in Las Vegas a bunch of years ago.
I know you're from Vegas also, kind of ish, or your family lived in Vegas.
It was a major shooting there. Also at a festival, someone positioned himself in a hotel room and just took shots at the crowd. And they were sitting ducks, and no one. He was in a different building, perched up. So I looked around, couldn't see anyone. Looked through the windows of any open window in the buildings next door. Still didn't see anyone. And then the guy popped up on the bridge, and I saw him there. And that was my first.
Did you see one or two of them or both of them?
I saw, initially it was only one. I actually first thought he was a policeman. Thought, the tactical team is here. And he's picked out, the shooter who's off the bridge. And also, it's all happening so quickly. Second later, the guy starts shooting into the crowd, and I realized who he was. And then I could see the other shooter. So I was watching, trying to keep tabs on them. I asked my daughter if she wanted to move, if she wanted to crawl away, because behind us is a ledge where, protected where the car park is. And then we could move away, but she wasn't having any of it. She didn't want to move. She was just sort of frozen in a spot. She'd also looked up and seen Chayla next to her with a wound in her back and freaked out, about that. So again, just calming her down. And the whole time, as much as I was trying to keep tabs on the shooters or just assess or just see what's going on, looking around, every time I picked up my head, she sort of made me get back down, and just being with her.
She was your guardian angel. Seriously.
Yeah.
Who knows? You would have been assessing the situation, chas v'shalom, and she kept you down.
She definitely did.
It's so funny. I feel like in these situations, so many of us had, I guess, guardian angels. Like I had my friend Chaya, who was with me. Her husband and her baby had run off. We'll get to that. But anyway, I felt she was my guardian angel because I was like to her, I need to get my phone. My phone was still in my pram with my keys and everything. And she was like, don't get your phone. And I don't know. I mean, I had my baby, but I didn't realize at all what was going on. I still was thinking in the beginning for the first few minutes, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, is this fireworks? What's going on? Knowing at the same time that it wasn't fireworks, but maybe I was completely in disbelief. So maybe I would have run to just grab my phone. I don't know. So I feel like Chai was my angel in that way, and also just having her with me made me feel a lot less alone, that we were just together, and we've also known each other our entire lives. We're childhood friends, both from Melbourne. Having her just for me to be like, what's happening? Where the hell is the police? And just having her with me. So I feel like your daughter was your guardian angel.
I'll admit it and acknowledge it. Adrenaline was. I didn't feel scared for myself in the moment. I couldn't think about anyone in particular, worry about any one person. My main focus was on the gunman and why isn't he being engaged? Why aren't the police coming? But just keeping an eye on him. Although my daughter didn't want to move, if he started advancing and coming towards us, then we'd have to run, and
Yeah.
I'd have to
Yeah, for
force him.
sure.
And we were hiding with other people, with Highland and a couple of people with babies. So I'm just sort of getting ready to make a move if we have to.
Yeah,
And
you're being a man,
but if
looking.
but if she
Yeah.
wasn't there, then my thoughts were not just in the immediate. Like I realized he's shooting from one direction. Maybe I could run around the other side with get some rocks in the way. I don't know anything. Just there's so much going on. I saw there was some policemen on the side. Won't get into what they were doing, and just even in the moment, just thought I'll ask them for their gun. If they're not using it, maybe they'll give it to me. I don't know, but
Yeah, I actually know. I want to unpack this because I mean we're sharing our stories, but I also feel as in everyone has different perspectives, and I want to unpack the policemen because people asked me about the police, and I said that I only saw two policemen within our event. Now, maybe I'm just a bit compassionate and kind or stupid. I don't know, but I know the fear that I felt. I know how it felt to be shot upon. We were like sitting ducks. And I feel the police that were with us, I don't even know what they could have done. I know they had a weapon, they had a gun. I guess maybe I don't know how firearms work. I actually don't know how firearms work. Could they have shot one of the gunmen if they would have shot? And also were they injured? I'm not talking about, that's another conversation that I want to have about the police that were not within the actual
yeah.
Chanukah event. But what do you think about the actual police that were with us in the event? Do you also feel compassion for them, or do you feel like, nah, they're policemen, their jobs is to protect us, they should have used their firearm, doesn't matter that the other guys had much bigger firearms? What's your thoughts of the policemen first that were with us?
I think it's a bit of both. Firstly, a couple of the policemen were injured. They couldn't do anything because they were shot.
It seems like the policemen were shot pretty quickly. Do you think that the gunman deliberately chose to maybe shoot the policeman straight away, or was it one or two of the policemen that they shot because they wanted to kind of make the policeman useless? Is that why you think they did that?
I anything if that's just pure speculation.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm yeah. Because were they both shot or only one of them?
Well, there were two that were shot. One was shot, I think, in the arm or stomach. I think in the arm. Actually, my son saw him get shot, and then he saw Label trying to help him, wrap up his arm with like a tourniquet or makeshift tourniquet, and that's when Label was shot. From what I've heard, another policeman was shot in the eye. I heard an account of someone who helped that policeman. I haven't heard Label directly, but from a lot of people who have spoken to him. So Label, who helped the one policeman, and this other Israeli guy who helped, also a young guy. He came across the policeman who was shot in the eye, took off his shirt, and basically told him in no uncertain terms that he's going to die. He's going to bleed out right then if he doesn't stop the bleeding immediately. So he took off his shirt, rolled it into a ball, and gave it to the policeman and told him just stick it in, as painful as it is, like put it in your eye.
Oh my
And
gosh. Do we know who this Israeli man is, or we don't know?
I do. He probably does not want to be known at the moment.
A hero. So many heroes.
So
Yeah.
both of them asked the policeman for the gun, and they were both told no. And I don't know what happened with Label because he was shot soon after, but this other guy, had the thought of just taking it anyways. In the moment, he didn't. He would have had to take it forcefully, and yeah, he didn't. But so those are the two stories I've heard from the policeman who was shot. The other ones, I don't know what they were doing. I saw one hiding. I've heard a couple other accounts also of people who saw some other officers hiding. I don't know how many there were. These various accounts. We'll probably never know the full exact details and truth. I don't know. but there were definitely some policemen within the vicinity taking cover.
And those policemen were not with us. Those policemen were outside of the Chanukah event, not
No,
getting shot
both.
by directly.
No, both. I saw one of them hiding just not far from me, so he must have been, or he or she must have been in the park. Well, they were. Someone else told me they came to the event as the shooting ended, and they saw a policeman hiding on the outside of the park. I'm in sort of two minds about that, because on one hand, they are, that policemen, you expect them to be trained in gunfire, ready to face threats head on. But at the same time, this is Australia, and we don't have this type of violence. Thank God we haven't. It's very rare. Gunshots are. Gun violence is very rare, and obviously terrorism has just never happened, especially on this scale. It barely happens at all. So, in their defence, they're underprepared. It wasn't. They weren't tactical teams. They weren't. From the sound of it, some of them were quite young and new on the force. So, we could we could sort of put the blame on them and say they should have done more. But at the same time, when you've never encountered anything like this, and obviously because of their response, we can see that their training was not up to that level. So what are they supposed to do? They're gonna freeze, even if this is something that you can never prepare for. I've spoken to soldiers who told me that all your training sort of goes out the window when an S hits the fan.
Yeah, it's interesting because I spoke to an Israeli. He was in the park and met my sister-in-law and their daughter, and he ended up coming in my father-in-law's car with us and then came to my in-laws' apartment. And he said that he was watching the terrorists the whole time, and he said he wished he had a firearm because he knew exactly what to do. I mean, but he's coming from Israel and fighting in Gaza.
Right.
He also was at a good vantage point where he could see them, and he just wished. I remember hearing the sounds of the police very soon after, maybe two minutes once like the shooting began. We could hear sirens, and I remember thinking, okay, the police are coming, like,
Yeah,
right?
the whole time.
So
Within
it's like a
seconds.
whole solution because we're hearing the shooting and then we're hearing sirens, and I'm not looking at anything because I'm also very much focused on protecting my baby and trying not to suffocate my baby, and also look at my baby and try and be calming somewhat. So I didn't see anything, but I remember the sounds. Everything for me is heightened. Of like the sound is the sense that for me is the strongest, and that is kind of triggering me now. Startling, loud sounds that I'm not expecting. But yeah, the sounds of the police and I don't know if there were ambulances. Maybe at that time it was just police. But like I kept thinking, okay, they're coming. Yeah. It's gonna end. And I'm sure you're looking, and you're also probably thinking that. I want to know, because you said that you were looking to make sure that if a terrorist would come in, then you would get ready to run and tell everyone around you to run. Yeah. Did you see when the dad terrorist, the father, came down, and then Ahmad came, and then Geffen Piton, who needs a refuah shalema, he's in critical condition, and then Reuven Morrison, who died a hero when he came. Did you see that happening, or you didn't see that?
I didn't see it. Again, I'm on the other side of the park.
Yeah, you're right.
I could see, because it goes up a sort of a hill, but a lot of that time I was focused on my daughter, and I'd also noticed that Yaakov was shot. He's lying a meter away from me. So while the shooting, I left my daughter for 2 times during the shooting. One was to check on Yaakov. There was already a woman sitting next to him, putting pressure on the wound, and I just ran to see how bad it was and if there's anything else I could do. Obviously, she didn't really have much, to put pressure on. I was looking, maybe there was something else, but all again within a couple of seconds, and I'm not standing. I'm, on my knees right there, and my daughter's obviously screaming at me, "Get back!" And then, so one of the other things she obviously saw that as well, but she couldn't see his actual wound. he had his back to us. And then the other guy, Ostrovsky, guy was shot in the head and blood all over his face. So he was to our left. He was sitting down, looked like just in a total daze. I had no idea who he was, but just sitting up with blood all over his face, and just looked like he was just staring into space. And my daughter also noticed that, again, freaking out. Oh, he's shot in the head and like he's bleeding. I said, yeah, but he just again calmed it down, and also just ducked over to him and said to him, "You okay?" He's like, "No, I got shot in the head." I'm like, "Yeah, I can see that," but and again, like, just very quickly had a look. There was a wound on you could see a clear wound on the top of his head, but blood wasn't gushing out. It was just come out, but it wasn't bleeding. He wasn't bleeding out, and there was nothing more I could do either way, whether he was or he wasn't. But I didn't have to put any pressure on because it wasn't bleeding out. So I just my daughter.
I think he's okay. He was the guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
And he's the guy who people were saying on social media that it's AI and all that crap.
No, it definitely wasn't AI.
No, we know that for sure. So you're witnessing, you basically saw people who were, I mean, we know that Yaakov, his neshama should have an aliyah. And I mean, like, it's just, I know we're talking about it, but I mean, our whole lives have been impacted, and like people that are very close within our community. And I know Yaakov, for you, was a friend. I mean, he was a best friend to my father-in-law, best friend.
Yeah.
And, so you saw Yaakov very injured and maybe not still in this world, and then you go to the other guy, and you're just adrenaline, being in that man mode of just trying to protect as best as you can with the power that you have.
Yeah, I mean, lying there feeling utterly helpless. Again, like you were saying, we heard the sirens. Next thing I'm expecting is a gunfight, not just gunfire at us, but an actual gunfight, and police to come from the back or the side and swarm. And there's a police station 500 meters away, expecting cars from all angles, and all it sounded like that the police cars were driving up and down the road, but none of them were stopping. It sounded like the sirens were moving, not in one spot.
Yeah. I really hope that a royal commission does happen, but it's absurd to think, because people say, oh, media say that it was 6 minutes or 7 minutes or 10 minutes. I feel like it was closer to 15 minutes. It was definitely 10 minutes, 100%. But I feel like it was like a good, I don't know, I felt like we were sitting ducks for 15 minutes. What do you say?
I think it was less than that. My only real frame of reference is a video that is about 10 minutes long, which starts with, I don't know if it's the first few shots, but it starts with the father killing, their names,
Sophia and Boris.
Yeah. So when you see in this video that they're like stumbling away, and then the son he's taking his first few shots, and the father shoots them on the pavement. So that video is on the gunman the entire time, and it goes to the end, and it's about a 10.5 minute video.
Okay.
And in that video, it ends at about 6 minutes 20, 6:30. So we're looking at about 6.5 minutes.
You think it was 6.5 minutes?
Yeah, that's wow. And that's my only real frame of reference.
I felt like it was at least 10 minutes.
It definitely felt a lot longer. So that's, but it's the only evidence that I have, or that I've seen of the time. We haven't been told even the timing when it started. I've heard 6:42, 6:43, 6:47.
I have a photo with Maya, my baby, with his balloon at 6:39. So I don't think it was 6:42. I thought it would be around 6:45. But you see, everyone has different.
So I made a sale at 6:40. I don't really have anything else beyond that. My first message or anything that I did with my phone was to message my other daughter who wasn't there. So I left my phones where they were. I decided I'm not taking any videos or pictures, which in a way, I regret somewhat, but I'm not stressing out about it. I'm sure everyone else there's going to be plenty of videos to watch and see and pictures. There were a couple of things that I would have liked to have um, taken pictures of or a bit of a recording, but again, just focus on my daughter and that's it. And then when there was a bit of a break in the shooting, I grabbed my phone and I messaged my other daughter, wasn't there, just wherever you are, go home. There's a shooting now in Bondi at the beach. Just go home now. And in the background, there's gunshots, and that's at 6:48. So I know I didn't do it right away, so it's anywhere between 6:45. Anyway, so point is that the only thing I can know for sure is from that video, which is about 6.5 minutes, which in the moment feels much, much longer.
Much longer. Much
Definitely,
longer.
you know. So yeah.
Tell us everything that happened after when the shooting officially ended. I just want to say that I don't even have the words to thank Ahmad, Al-Ahmad, Geffen, and Reuven Morrison. I wish I could thank Reuven Morrison in real life. Please God, I'll be able to thank Geffen in real life. But those three courageous hero men, they saved us. Because I went back to the scene and where the terrorists came down, because you're right, I think they wanted to come down, and when the dad came down, he was right near the petting zoo. That's where he was when he came down. And had he come down and those three heroes would not have stepped in, I would not be here today. I'd be dead. And my baby would be dead.
Yeah, it's
And my friend and everyone. Like, we were at that edge where he was coming down. Because we were at the front of the whole Chanukah by the sea. So it's just crazy that, I mean, like, you're right with the whole police and stuff. Like, these civilians saved our lives, saved my life and my baby's life. And I'm forever grateful to them. Forever grateful.
and I mean, yeah, we're definitely grateful for them. There was obviously also police. There was a detective who came in and finished the job. A lot of heroes, a lot of people who did some great things.
When did the can you elaborate? Because I have no idea.
This is only what I've seen, a couple video clips of and heard either from other people or on the news, which I don't really read the news much because I don't know. I'd rather listen to first-hand accounts than narratives being spun a certain way. So as far as from people eyewitness accounts, there was a detective on the other side of the building, on the other side of the bridge, who got as close as he could and was able to neutralize the terrorists. It seems the father was shot from the park side, not the other side. Again, just from video footage that I've seen, but I don't know for sure whose bullets killed them. And I don't know when we'll get concrete answers either.
So tell us what happened after when the shooting ended.
So right after it happened, I saw a lot of commotion on the bridge, realized it's over, and everything happened just obviously so quickly. Looking for her kids, my son came running. So he was lying in the middle of the park by the ticket booth. He came running right away, right to me. Not as freaked out and traumatized as I thought he would be, thank God, but obviously scared and wanting to get out of there. And my daughter's fine, but traumatized and let's go. And her focus was finding her two kids. So three of them. So I basically told her to take my kids, or it was actually like Mendel hadn't come yet. So it was just, I told her to take her home, you get out of here, you're injured, you got your baby, I'll go find your kids, but you need to get out of here. She agreed. There were a couple other people next to us also with kids, and they started like making their way out and making their way to the side. That's when my son came. He's like telling me, we got to go. I said, yeah, we do, but I also have to find your friend. And I just told Kyle, I'm going to find the kids. Took him to my car, which was right there. I said, it's safe here. It's, you're on this. Like, he's freaking out that there's another shooter, and he heard there's a bomb and a shooter. I said, look, man, we don't know anything. There isn't. So let's just take a deep breath. Stay in the car. I'll be like, let me just have a quick look.
Who were you looking for, sorry?
Kyla's two kids, who are best friends with my kids. And I just gave my daughter to Kyla and told her I'm going to look for the kids. So he waited there. I went up, had a quick look around the immediate area. came back to him and he's like, we gotta go. I said, yeah, have you called your friend? Like, have you called him? No, I tried, but he's not answering.
Can you tell me? I had tunnel vision completely. I grabbed Maya and me and Chaya, my friend, we just ran. Now, I
Yeah.
remember looking back for a second because I was like, oh, I need my phone because my phone was in my pram. I couldn't see my pram. Meanwhile, I found out that Aliyah Eichenblatt, thank God, used my pram as a shield for herself. Um, but I remember seeing people lying on the floor, and I remember thinking to myself, why are they lying on the floor? The shooting is over. Like, why are they still lying on the floor? Obviously, not realizing that they were either, I
Injured.
guess, injured, and like Peter, the photographer, was murdered right near me, and I think a few, like as in, I think some of the people may have not been alive. But I didn't look. I just remember people on the floor. What did you see? Because you didn't have that tunnel vision like I did. And then I also remember complete chaos. I remember the first thing I saw was, someone screaming frantically, has anyone seen my daughter? And looking for their daughter. And that's all that I remember. And then I remember I was just hyper focusing getting out of there and then trying not to trip over the silver things. What are they
Metal
called that
cables.
were protecting us, that were all
Yeah.
on the ground?
Yeah.
um, Trying not to trip on them because I was holding Maya. And then actually, as we were running out, we saw Kyla at the end, like right before the car park, with her little baby and her 7-year-old son and your daughter Fega. And then
Yeah.
Chaya's sister-in-law was with Kyla, and lots of Chayas going on. And then we took, basically, I was with Maya, and we took 3 kids with us. So we took the baby, the 7-year-old son, and then your Fega with us. And
Yeah.
I remember your Vega's face. I mean, her face was bewildered and shocked. And then she kept also saying, are the policemen, is that good or bad? And we kept saying, no, the policemen, they're good. Even though one of the policemen, which was actually quite scary and rude to us. But anyway, um, sorry, I know we're like going a bit back and forth, but when you were running around looking for Kyla's other 2 children, were you actually seeing the carnage with your own eyes?
I was, but at the same time, it was like a mix between tunnel vision and seeing everything. So I could see the carnage. I could see people lying over. So right away, I went. Well, after a couple of minutes, I went back to my son. Well, not even a couple of minutes. It must have been a few seconds to a minute. I ran back to my son in the car, and I'm thinking like, okay, what do I do? Like, he really wants to get out of there. I need to make sure he's okay, but I also just sort of promised her, and also there's a lot going on here. I don't know if I can help in any way. I need to be here. And at that moment, someone drove past who I knew very well. He was on his way out, obviously, and I stopped him. Like, I just sort of put my hand out, stopped the car, opened up the door. I said, Mendel, get in. And I told him, just take him home. He's got a key. He can get in. He's got a phone. He'll be all right there. He took him to Rivki's parents, and he was okay over there. And he was obviously freaked out, but he was also relatively calm. We were talking, and I said, I have to find your friend. I need to go find him. And he understood that, and he accepted that. So he was okay to get in the car with this other person and go. So right after that, I ran back to Yaakov and checked on him. The woman's still there, and he'd been shot behind the tables, so no one could see him. And as I looked up in front of the tables and into the main area, and there's absolute, pandemonium, chaos. People are running all over, lifeguards, and I don't know if any paramedic had arrived yet.
It's funny, I feel even disconnected. Not disconnected,
Right.
but it hasn't hit me yet.
It's hard, but I've accepted reality.
Yeah,
Come to terms with the fact that it happened. I did what I did.
yeah.
Everyone did what they did. I have questions, but not on. It just This is what Hashem decided, and we got to move on.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm gonna ask.
Even before that, this part gets sort of lost a bit. But as I'm dealing with Chayla and Fagan, telling Fagan to go with her, and also, like, thank God, because if there was one person that Vega would be comfortable going with, Tyler. So, as we're now dealing with, and I'm saying, you need to go, and having that whole conversation, a woman walked up to me. She just walked straight down from the other side, and she's got a 4-year-old kid in her hand. Kid's got blood on her legs and her arms, and words were, "I think her parents are gone. Can you take care of her?" So I said, "Yeah." Like, again, just what am I supposed to do? Say no? Like, of course. Like, yeah. Obviously means this is my focus now, but this is what I. So I took her. I just held her and organized Vega and that, and then my son came running, and then there was another woman next to me, and again, I don't know who these people are. Another woman next to me, and I said to her, "Can you just hold this kid for 2 minutes?"
Did the kid need medical attention, or
No,
was
she was
it
fine.
was it blood of other people on her?
Other people. So my immediate assumption, just, well, the woman said to me, "I think her parents are gone," meaning they've been shot and probably not with us anymore, and she's all alone. Can you sort of can you sort her out? Like, so and now I'm also dealing with my kids. So there was another woman next to me. I said, "Can you just hold her for 2 minutes? I need to sort out my kids, and I'll take her back." And then, obviously, in the moment and with all that's going on and my ADHD, I promptly forgot about it. Went to
Do we know,
Yaakov.
did this little girl, was her
Yeah,
parents?
I'll get to it. It didn't. It's not the end of my
Okay.
dealing with it. So I went up to Yaakov. I basically got him medical attention because he was hiding, or he'd been shot behind a table and no one could see him. So everyone's running to whoever they could see. There were lifeguards from buildings from both sides who had come into the area, and then Hatzalah and CHS and whoever else came, and the police who were there. So it was just a flooding of emergency response, but no one could see him. So I started shouting at some of them. There's a guy here, shot in the chest, trying to come. Pushed the table away. A couple guys came over, but just a lifeguard and a guy, like a civilian who were there. So I made some space for them. I pushed the tables away and then just found any paramedic or anyone who looked more professional or with equipment. And they came over and they started working on him. They were asking, trying to get scissors or whatever to cut his clothes. And at that point, okay, I've done all I can here. I'm going to move on with finding the kids. And I basically ran around the immediate area. I had no idea that they'd been standing right next to me when it started. They were standing next to Fega with a couple other kids. I had no idea, or even if I knew that they were there after that. So I was just running around, again, tunnel vision, looking for the kids, but at the same time seeing bodies, but not stopping to. At that point, I wouldn't say everyone was being taken care of, but there were people just all over. And I was just focused. I had that sort of tunnel vision of finding them, but at the same time looking around, looking to see who's on the ground. If I know anyone, or God forbid, one of them. At that point, someone told me that Eli had been shot and was lying on the other side. So I went up to him and saw him over there. It's a whole nother part of it that is, I don't know. His story really shows the utter chaos and that was unfolding at the time.
In what way does his story mean the fact that he was lying there and no one even noticed? Is that what you
No,
mean?
people had already tried to save him, and unfortunately he was already gone. People saying he was still alive, there's still a pulse, get him attention, and um, back and forth, and they moved him to another spot and try to resuscitate him again. Even though, by all accounts of the people who had treated him or seen him right afterwards, he was already gone. So again, I don't blame anyone for doing what they did, but yeah, it just highlights the utter sort of chaos and pandemonium that was going on. That just everyone was just doing everything. Like there was very little I won't say very little, but it was obviously a lot of emotions and a lot of just do whatever you can. But once then I saw him, um, and for me, in a weird way, it's like a bit of closure, a bit of. I'm grateful that I saw him and Yaakov, that I saw their faces. Yaakov was still alive when I saw him last, but he was, not in a good way. He deteriorated pretty badly, and I was very hopeful that they would save him, but he didn't look, in a good way, obviously. And then seeing Eli again while they're trying to work on him, whether it was right or wrong or whatever it was. The fact is, they did it, and I got to see him again, even though he was already gone. And for me, I'm grateful for that. As difficult as it is, it's two friends who very close, very very close, probably two of my closest friends in Sydney who I could talk to about anything. Who've been there for me through thick and thin, especially over the last year, since going to shul at Chabad Bondi, talking to them multiple times a week, coming to the shops. I think I would have. It would have been a lot harder if, just for argument's sake, if I'd run off and then never seen them again. And
Yeah, you needed that. Continue describing. You were saying about
so,
that 4-year-old girl, and we'll get to her or something. 'Cause I
yeah,
know there was-
so I can. So as soon as they declared Ellie for the second time, I mean, for me it was the first time, but and I saw Rebbe Ullman there. I mean, Rebbe Ullman was there. I gave him a hug.
Rabbi Ullman was there because I didn't see Rabbi Ullman at the event.
He came during the shooting or just
No
after.
way.
Yeah, he was coming for the lighting, so he was on his way down, and everyone was running out. So I don't know if he came during or just after, but he definitely came. The first time I saw him, he was walking through everything, and I just with his kapot and everything, and I thought, wow, like how did he survive? Where was he hiding? And then a couple of minutes later, I saw him standing next to Ellie. He's watching them work on him, and
I don't know if it's private. Do you remember what Rabbi Ullman's face was like? Because he's the rabbi of the community. Chabad of Bondi is his community, his shul. This is his community's event. Do you remember his facial expression?
I remember very clearly. I don't know.
So we won't put this in the podcast. You know what's crazy? You're like a witness to so many things. Because I had my story. I left. I took Fega and the two Schlenger children with us. We had our own story. And my father-in-law came and picked all of us up, and 11 of us all fit into his little 5-seater car, and then he drove us to safety. But I didn't stay. I didn't look. I feel like you are very unique and rare because you're an observer. I mean, you're on adrenaline and you had tunnel vision, but you're seeing so much. I know you told me that you went to the police and you haven't even finished your witness statement because it's going to take you hours because look how much you have. Like you witnessed a lot that I don't know about most, but a lot of us who were there didn't witness.
Yeah, I did witness quite a lot. But with that tunnel vision, I witnessed and I dealt with all hashgacha pratis. I didn't know that the body lying there was Eli. I didn't even pretty much see it. Someone just walked as I'm running past. Someone mentioned that that's Eli, so I went to him. So there was a lot of my dealings were basically with Yaakov and Eli's families, and then a little bit here and there with some other people on the day. I mean, in the moment, as soon as Eli was gone, I stood there just in shock for a bit, and then I saw Chayla again, and I guess that's when I got a bit of a wake up call, a bit of a smack in the face, like you still haven't found the kids, and I realized she must have come back, which is what happened. So I did get a phone call from Lady saying my daughter's with her, that Chayla's come back, but I hadn't seen her, so I had no idea if she'd found her kids or not. And then I was with Rebbe Ullman. Then not even a minute later, I saw Chayla, and just realized I really have to find those kids because who's going to be there for them? Family. I don't know who's there, who isn't there. Families run. They're probably hiding somewhere on their own. So I ran. Now we're already closer to the North Bondi Pavilion. I mean, the North Bondi RSL Club, our River Surf Club. Ran in there. There was places packed with people, hiding out. Looked around, shouted their names, top floor, bottom floor. Saw a couple of people who I knew, asked them if they'd seen them. Hadn't seen them, and I just ran out. I found out afterwards that they were hiding in the bathroom downstairs. So I missed them, but I took off. And
What are the sounds, by the way, that's going on? Is there a lot of screaming, crying, or is there stillness and quiet?
I don't remember inside the building. I wouldn't say it was quiet. It wasn't like crazy noisy. I think there was a lot of screaming and crying. I don't really remember exactly, but to me it wasn't that loud. Someone who was there could tell otherwise. I was in and out pretty quickly. And then I ran to the Bondi Pavilion. So this is probably about 7:30, 7:35. I ran to the Bondi Pavilion. I realized that a lot of people had run there. And as I come there, I see this woman with this kid standing there. And she's like, "Thank you for coming back. Here she is." So I acted like, yeah, that's exactly why I came back. Not that I'd forgotten, but I obviously hadn't forgotten that.
Yeah.
So I took her immediately and tried to get into the pavilion. Couldn't get in. There was a CSG person there. There were some cops. There were just some workers. No one knew. Like, I was told that I could get in over here. One door, we tried a couple doors, we tried walking around. So now I'm not running anymore because I have this girl. Walking a lot slower, but still on my mission, and went to try to get into the pavilion. Asked a couple policemen. There was one CSG member, and I was told it's locked down, can't get in, can't get out. I said, I have this girl, I'm looking for some kids. Is there any way we can find out? No, nothing. I started walking back towards the park, and was promptly stopped by a policewoman. So I told her my situation, told her what I'm doing, why I'm walking down there. She told me no one's allowed, obviously, it's blocked off. I said, can you help me? I'm looking for some kids. Do you know where they would have gone? This girl's parents? Do you know if there's any area where people might have run to, or any information you can give me? And nothing. So anyways, a bit of a conversation with her. I moved on. I put out a message before on one of the group chats for Tehillim for Yaakov and Eli. So now people were calling me, asking me for information on them, family, friends, people were, am I still there? Have they seen this person? So, and then also checking on me because they knew I was there. So there's a bit of all that's going on once. And then someone told me that a lot of people had run to Bondi Beach public school, which is across the road. So I took this kid. Now it's already getting dark, so it's probably after 8.
And is this kid crying? Is she crying?
No,
Is
she's
she saying, I
calm.
want my mum and dad?
Yeah. A couple times she did ask, and she was very calm, very quiet. I kept reassuring her. She asked for her parents, obviously, but wasn't crying. I don't know if she was just in shock or just quiet, but she was comfortable with me. At another point, someone even offered to take her from me, and she didn't want to go. So I just once I had her back, and I'm not passing her on. I'm gonna see this through. So I walked across the road. Now I'm out of the sort of area because it's Campbell Parade, and I started walking towards Bondi Beach, and again I see another couple police officers there, and this is what we're talking about, the police reactions. That he says to me, "No, you can't walk here." I'm carrying this girl. This is already an hour and a half, maybe, or well over an hour, if not an hour and a half after the shooting had ended or even began, whatever. He's like, "You can't walk here." And now I'm already starting to lose my patience a bit. I've asked for assistance from different people, different police officers. No one offered help. They just told me they don't know anything. Keep moving. No one offered to ask if either of us were okay, if we were injured, if we, can we wipe her legs? Can we give her some water? Can we give her a blanket? It's starting to get cold. There was nothing. It's just don't come here and just keep walking. Can't help you, whatever it was. So this officer says to me, this officer is can't walk here. I said, "Mate, I'm going to walk wherever I want. I'm looking for some kids. I'm looking for this girl's parents. I'm on my mission. I'm going." He says, "You can't walk here. It's a crime scene." said, I am the crime scene. Like, I was in it. What do you mean? And then he says, can you step off the road and like, take a step to the side, get off the road, and we can talk. The road's blocked. There's no one on the road. You're standing in the middle of the road. There's no one here. Like, there's no cars. What do you mean, get off the road? Can you help me or not? Oh, no, I don't want to talk. Can we stand on the side? So take a deep breath, stand on the side, and he says to me, okay, now we can talk. How can I help? Okay, repeat. I'm looking for some kids who ran off. I'm looking for this girl's parents. You know if there's anyone in Bondi Beach Public School, and if there are, can we get in? Oh, I don't know anything. But do you want to talk? Like, no, bye. And I walked off. Yeah, so those are the types of interactions I had at least. Yeah. So yes, useless, but I'd like to, in a politically correct way, but just totally underprepared, and no training in how to deal with even the aftermath. So we're not even talking about the reaction to the shooting. Now it's all done. It's over an hour. The place is secure. There's hundreds of police all over the place. Now it's about
helping.
Dealing with, like, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a victim. I'm trying to now help someone I don't even know who she is, and dealing with me with like contempt and
yeah. You know what's interesting? Because I felt the same when me and Fega and all of us were trying to pile into my father-in-law's car, the highway patrol police car. We weren't in the way of anything, was beeping at us, honking at us, and screaming at us and saying, hurry up, hurry up. And he was so rude and like intense and scary. And I remember Chaya took a photo of his registration number because I couldn't remember the rego, but I was trying to take a photo because he was so rude. And earlier on, whilst we were waiting for my father-in-law, Chaya asked him, how can we leave? And he barked at Chaya and said, just go up here or something. No kindness, no care. We had just gone through a shooting, and he starts honking at us, screaming at us to hurry up. As 11 human beings are trying to pile into this car to safety, we've just gone through a shooting. No care, nothing. That was our little 1 second of experience. And we were so appalled that I even have a photo of his registration number. That's how appalled we were. So I can't even imagine with you and you trying to, like, no one's actually, everyone's just telling you to go away. And you're like, no, I have a mission I need to complete. Although it's interesting because you thought that it was safe. Meanwhile, obviously, we both had no idea that, number one, the terrorists had thrown 2 bombs that, thank God, by a miracle of Hashem, did not detonate on us. Otherwise, none of us would be here. And that also, did they know that there was a bomb in the guy's car? Was that known?
Yeah. So that was already known, but by that point, well, again, when Mendel came running, he said, he was like shouting things like, there's a third shooter and there's a bomb. At that point, I didn't know, and quite frankly, I couldn't care. It had been over an hour. The place was quiet. If there was, then anyone was a danger. So if I'm standing next to the policeman, I'm just as much in danger as he is, or he's in just as much danger as I am. So in that moment, it doesn't matter if there's a bomb or not. We're both in the same amount of danger, meaning like we can both have the same sort of conversation and dealing. I'm calm. I'm trying to remain respectful. Everyone I spoke to, even when I had this interaction with the policeman, I was calm. I didn't shout at him. I was visibly frustrated, but I wasn't losing my temper, treating them disrespectfully. I was actually a lot calmer than I normally be. And it shows, again, that to me, in that regard, more upsetting, because it wasn't just in the moment, how they failed us. And you could make excuses on that, and they're underprepared in actual shooting. But now there's a mass casualty event, and there was no empathy. There was no care, or like if you weren't bleeding, if you weren't like majorly injured or dead, you were nothing. You were actually part of the problem now. You need to leave.
So tell us, did you find this girl's parents?
So I realized I'm not getting anywhere. I walked back into basically the top of the pavilion area, where the top, as you walk in over there, and I walked up to a guy in a suit. Again, the constables are not getting me anywhere. So I walked up to a guy in a suit and I started explaining to him. And again, he tried to sort of ignore me, or like whatever it was. And and then if I remember correctly, I just whatever. I said whatever, and I went and I put her down on the wall, on the ledge, and I said to her, "Can I put you down now?" I'd been carrying her for probably an hour. Put her down. I said, "Are you okay here?" Yes. So she sat down, and then there was a photographer there who came over and asked me what's going on and started helping me. Then an SES lady, and then this detective and another couple other detectives started taking notice, and we started trying to work out who she is, and they were asking her questions, and she could only tell me her first name, how old she was. She couldn't tell us her last name, her parents' name. They asked her which school she went to. Rabbi Wolf and Alex Rivchin walked up at that point. They were talking to these, the inspectors, whatever. So I walked up to them, just interrupted. "Sorry, guys, do you know this girl?" I thought maybe she's a Russian community, you might know them. He didn't. And then they cleaned her up, and then we took a couple pictures, and we sent it out to some WhatsApp groups. So she told us which school she was from, and we put it out in some groups. I guess within, let's say 15, 20 minutes, they were contacted. Again, not a pleasant ending from my side, and thank God the father was definitely the father, because he came to pick her up. So he was alive and well. I don't know what happened to anyone else in the family. I just made some assumptions, but he came to pick her up. This was
Thank God. Have you connected with her parents now after? Do they know that you held their daughter for over an hour trying to look for them?
So this is the final straw with the policeman. So as we're standing there and we're trying to figure out who she is, and I'm sending to WhatsApp group, and the SES is sending to another group, the, I don't know, inspector or the top cop he's calling the shots in this. He's telling everyone whatever. He says to the SES lady and two detectives, he goes, "This girl goes nowhere without my sign off. I don't care who it is, the mother, the father, any family member. She goes nowhere until I say so, without me clearing." So I leaned in and I went, "Yeah, and me too. I'm also I want to be there for the hand. I'm part of this. I understand they're the professionals, but anyways." So now we're starting to find out, and we're getting messages. I put on a WhatsApp group. "Does anyone know this girl and who she is? Or if anyone knows this, please message me on this number." I had a second phone. My phone's about to die, so I gave them a second number. "Please message me on this number, ASAP." Check my phone 2 minutes later, message on the group. I saw in another group that she's been reunited with her parents. She has not been. I am with her. If anyone knows who she is, do not believe anything else, any other group or anything else. I am with her. Please message me or call me on this number. Just enough. Anyways.
So, but I'm saying now, right now.
So then, and then basically, after all of that, they walked off without me.
So do you know who her parents are that you can
I don't
connect
know
with them?
No, they didn't give me any details. They didn't want to share any information with me. When the father came to pick her up, I had to keep asking, have you got any information? Do you know, whatever? Yes, the father's coming to pick her up. Okay, great. I'd like to be there when he comes. Blah, blah, blah. Also, I think Channel 9 had got me walking with her on live TV. Now people who were watching saw me, and now I'm getting phone calls also, "Are you okay? Who's that girl?" All the questions, and people also messaging me, "Have you seen this person? Are you still there? I'm looking for that person." So I was a little bit busy, and she's taken care of, so I'm not totally focused on her. And I look up and she's gone. So I said, "Where is she?" I thought I thought you were going to let me know.
And did you find the Schlanger kids or someone else found them?
They were in that building, and then one of my friends told me that he had spoken to someone in that building or in a building, and I thought they were in the pavilion. I didn't realize they were in the North Bond, I think, but they were with some adults, some family, and there's a whole bunch of them together. So I immediately called them to confirm, and I spoke to the kids, to Nosson. I spoke to Rabbi Castell, was with them, confirmed that they're there, but this was already before. This was while we're waiting for father of this.
By the way, when you say that Alex Rifchin was there and Levi Wolf and now Rabbi Costell, all these people, they weren't there during the actual terrorist attack. So are you saying all these people were coming afterwards?
Yeah, so Rabbi Costell was in the building with his son, and so he was in the building. He wasn't. I didn't see him. Alex Rifchin and Rabbi Wolf came afterwards
To help.
like again with coordination, with whatever they could. They were right there, like with this inspector. Immediately there was Zaka trying to get involved. There was immediate there was a lot to do. Obviously, there's dead bodies. There's injured.
Do you remember seeing a lot of blood? I've spoken to some survivors who saw gruesome, graphic things that I don't even know if I should be saying on this podcast. Like really graphic things. Did you see any of those kind of things, or you don't remember them?
I saw a lot, but I didn't stop to take it in. Didn't Right next to me there were 3 people who were killed. I didn't see them. I ran
You
around
didn't process it. It was just there. I know,
there.
I
Yeah.
mean, I saw dead bodies without also processing. I just remember lying on floor. That's all. Like I wasn't processing. So were you like kind of like that too? You don't remember like blood and stuff?
No, looking for the kids, I was like, if I saw someone and if I didn't know who that person was, they had medical attention, someone was dealing with them, I just moved on. I came to the triage area. There were a whole bunch of people lined up on surfboards and stretchers, all being worked on. I looked to see if any of them were Yaakov, because when I got back to Yaakov in the beginning, he'd been moved very quickly. I was looking to see if I knew anyone, but also they're getting medical treatment. I'm not a part of it. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not sitting there staring and just quick look. Do I know? And then obviously moving on with the kids. And then the final sort of the final straw was when you're saying about the cop who was barking orders at you was when
The little
everyone
girl.
left, the building. So I don't know what time it was, but again, well after 9 o'clock, or had to be after 9 o'clock. People have been holed up in the pavilion for 2 hours. I'm thinking that Nosson and all the kids are still in that building. I didn't realize they were in another one. So I'm waiting for everyone to come out. And whatever time it is, there's 200 people coming out of this building, shell-shocked, traumatized. Don't know what they're walking into. The cops are like, move, keep moving, go, just keep going, clear there, go, like cattle. And I was speechless. Like, these people are traumatized. What do you want from them? They are not part of the problem. We aren't the criminals here. Stop treating us like we've done something wrong. A bit of care, a bit of compassion, a bit of empathy. Just bring them out and give them some immediate attention and come to a safe zone. And I understand it's a lot of people, but shouting at them just move. Even if you got none of that, then don't shout at them.
Are you going to file a complaint?
And the worst part is that across the road, as these people are walking out, is all the media. So as they come out and they're being chased away by the police, you've got hundreds of cameras and video cameras in your face, capturing you. I started my statement. I don't know when or if I'll finish, and this was part of it. I was told I could make an official complaint. I'll only go through that process if I get the impression that they're going to listen to me and listen to our stories of complaints, but not as constructive criticism, and not that we're trying to bash them. Yes, they did wrong, but they need to learn from this, and they need to own the fact that they did not deal with this. Anyone can get up and say whatever they want, that it was professional, it was dealt with to the best of their ability. To me, that's just gaslighting. And if it was, then that's pretty sad, because if that was the best that they could do, it's a pretty sad, indication of where their standards are. But you can't take away. That's what the cop said to me. Do you want to make a complaint? There's two sides to it. There's a statement of what happened and then your feelings about the event. I said, no, it's all one thing. I'm telling you facts. These aren't feelings. I can tell you how I feel about it, but what I saw and my interactions with the woman, those are facts. This is a part of my statement. What I feel is a separate issue. I'm telling you that this is how it went down. Now, if you want to tell me that that's professional, then we can argue whether it's professional or not. But these are the facts of how it went down. You getting shouted at and beeped at by the cop instead of them helping you. Those are facts. If they want to
You're
excuse,
actually inspiring me because I did my witness statement. It took 3 hours, and then I mentioned it, and they said that they wouldn't include that in the witness statement. So they said I could file a complaint, and I thought, can I be bothered? Will it make a difference? But I think there might actually be a rabbi in our community, I heard from the grapevine, who might be doing an official complaint as a whole from the community against the police. I'll let you know details about it, but maybe I will go back and file a complaint because what happened to me, what happened to, us wasn't the biggest deal, but I'm now seeing that there's a bigger picture going on. We are one of the, I don't know, thousands of people that were barked by the police. The highway patrol police barked at us and were beeping at us and saying, hurry up. We've just come from a terrorist attack. We're trying to get to safety, and we're trying to fit as many people as we can in this car. Like, give us a second. It's a bit of a Tetris game. But yeah, you're actually inspiring me. But anyways, what time did you get home that night?
About 10 o'clock.
And when would you say that it hit you? The gravity of the situation and, what went on? Was it straight away?
That hit me right away. One of my first thoughts was, this is it. Like, it's actually happening here in Australia. This isn't a dream. This is real. What we, like I said in the beginning, what we heard about in other places, this is it. So the gravity of it was, I was fully aware. Like I said, I seen my friends, so I was already, in a way, coming to terms. Yaakov, I didn't know. I knew it wasn't good. They took him away so quickly that I was hopeful that he was in good hands and was going to make it. But I had no clue. And that's, for another time, the whole other side of the, debacle of the aftermath. But the gravity hit me, pretty quickly. I walked out of the park. I don't know, I was checking my phone, probably 9:40. I'm walking away from the beach, and I, realized I haven't lit the menorah yet, and no one lit the menorah yet. Can't even use the one at the park. Yes, I called Rivki and the kids. They wanted to sleep at her house that night, which is probably good for me, for both of us to be able to process everything. I also wanted to see them and light menorah with them, so they came over. We lit menorah. We had a quick chat, beginning of the healing or process.
Gosh, I know it's this dichotomy of like we've just gone through a terror attack, but we all still lit the menorah that night. I wrote about it in my initial, testimony. I wrote basically when I got to my in-laws, Ezra was singing at a wedding, and for me, I love to write, and I just wrote straight away like what I remembered and everything, and it helps me process. It's a part of my healing journey, writing. Yeah. But I even remember when we lit the menorah thinking, Mika Amcha Yisrael, like who is like you, Israel? We're still praising God. We're still thanking Him for the miracles, the Chanukah miracle back in the day, and we're still increasing in our light. And that's really who we are as a people. What is the main emotion or emotions that you're feeling right now? I guess, is it 2 weeks? 2 weeks after?
Yeah.
You don't need to answer if you don't know.
There's pain. There's pain for what we've gone through. There's pain, looking around and seeing how much suffering there is at the moment. Not even then, that trauma, how much people are really struggling to come to terms with the event afterwards. I've spoken to people who weren't there, who aren't even Jewish, and they're struggling.
Do you feel unsafe in Australia, and do you feel uncomfortable, I guess, being an openly from Jew?
No, not any more or less than before. I'm not driving through the western suburbs on my own with my yarmulke and tzitzis out. But in this area, I got no problem. I haven't even told anyone, but I was abused on Shabbos, or like someone shouted at us with Feiga and me. It's actually like it's can't even write the script if you wanted to.
You mean a non-Jew?
Yeah, like as we're walking on Shabbos, he cursed us out.
And have you reported it officially?
Yeah, I've reported it. What it's I was hoping there'd be some footage of it, but I don't know if we will get.
That's just messed up. Survivors of the terrorist attack, walking on their Sabbath, getting abused.
In Bondi, around the corner from the shul, there's that apartment at the second circle. There's Ultimate Apartments, Bondi.
Yeah.
So we just walked in there, and this guy comes like, I don't know if he tried to run us over, but he definitely tried to like scare us. He came wildly and quickly, like out of nowhere, like pulls into the driveway right behind us. So we both we didn't get scared, but we both sort of like moved out the way.
And what did he say?
And I turn around and I look at him like, why are you driving like that? Like, that's just reckless. Like, what are you doing? He looks at me and goes, fuck the Jews, go back to Israel. So I stared him down, and now I go, also, Fager with me. I don't want to cause a scene. I don't want to get her. She barely heard anything. She hadn't gotten, frightened too much.
Yeah, you don't want to traumatize her more.
I don't want to bring up anything, I wasn't going to tell her run, I'm going to deal with this guy, go down to the Ullmans, it's just down the road. So I stared him down, and he's fiddling, trying to open up the gates, whatever it is. And I just calmly walked to the back of his car, memorized his number plate, turned around and walked off.
Good, well.
I have his number plate, I've reported it. I reported it right away.
Did you report it to the police and the CSG?
So I haven't reported to CSG yet. He's from Victoria, whatever. I'll get to it. But all these things, the whole reporting thing is such a...
I know.
Such a drain, and it's...
I know it's a drain. Even if you just call them up and send it to them and say that you don't have the emotional, psychological capacity. But I think it's important. But maybe they can track him down somehow, and
we really have his number. I'm going to...
just do it.
I could try get the statement from the cops and then just pass it on.
But I think it's important also do it with the CSG if you can.
Yeah, I'm saying I could get the statement from them and pass it on to CSG, or maybe I'll just type it up. So this is what happened. These are the details. Here are the pictures.
Yeah, tell them that. Better to do something than nothing. Me and you now are compiling the miracle stories. This is a tragedy that we never wanted to happen, even though we're not surprised with our current government and everything that's going on in this country. But we want to also acknowledge the fact that Hashem was and is present with everything. And so we're right now compiling different miracle stories. Not that we're going to be publishing them anytime soon, out of respect and sensitivity to the families who lost their loved ones. And this is all being done with the permission of Rabbi Ullman. But I think it's important for us, and we were discussing this over the phone, and I want to hear it from your mouth, but to realize that Hashem is in everything, and the fact that they didn't have automatic guns, the fact that the 2 bombs that they threw at us didn't detonate, the fact that there were only 2 of them and not more, the civilians that did come, and then every person that was there or had just left or that didn't come this year. So many little Hashgacha Pratis miracle stories. Tell me, what are your thoughts about that?
This is what I told my kids as I got home, and now I haven't seen them for a couple of hours, and now we're going to light the menorah. I have to daven Mariv. We have to light the menorah. And I said to him, none of this makes sense. We cannot try to make sense of this because it won't, it's just not going to happen. Why would, we knew Yaakov and Eli had been shot. I knew Eli wasn't with us anymore, but my daughter didn't know yet, so I didn't want to tell her it's 10:30 at night. She's going to sleep soon. It's not something she has to hear right then. But why them and not us? I don't know, because Hashem decided. In a physical sense, because the guy didn't aim at us. I don't know. We weren't protected. We were hidden. But I'm also I don't know, and I'm not going to try and work it out. I said, it's totally and utterly senseless. We cannot make any sense of it. But it's only Hashem. Hashem decided, and that's it. The beginning and the end of it. We can ask why, but we're not going to get an answer. So let's not focus on that. Let's focus on being strong. Let's focus on getting through this, being strong for ourselves. So, you have friends who are going through, unfortunately, a lot. You've got to be strong for yourself, and you've got to be strong for them. We all have that. We survived it. We will get through this. We're not going to pretend it never happened. If we want to cry, let's cry. If we want to go through our emotions, but we need to be strong for ourselves and for other people, and for our friends who are going to need it, who are unfortunately in worse off situations than us. And I think it's the more that I've spoken to people, and I went back the first day. I couldn't be around the crowd, not the space in particular, but the crowd to me was full of people who hadn't been there, and I couldn't connect.
Yeah.
And I felt very uncomfortable. But 2 days from Tuesday onwards, every time I went to the beach, whether I wanted to just try get to my car, which was locked up for a week, or just go spend a few minutes, or whatever it was, I ended up spending 3-4 hours there talking to people who were there, who weren't there, and the amount of stories and this is why I reached out to you, because the amount of stories that I heard, and that people came out, it's incredible the amount of miracles that took place. It's mind-boggling. Obviously the focus is on the people who were killed or injured, but everyone has, just for every one of those, it could have been so much worse in so many ways.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's important. It's not important. It's vital to acknowledge that. To in the hardest of times, that's when we have to really take our strength. Get our strength from Hashem and take. Solace in that. It's He is there for us. He's carrying us. We will get through this. This is how we survive, because he's got us. He's got our back, and we're gonna get through this, just like we've gotten through centuries of persecution and situations, and we've got to do our part. But why he's doing it, I don't know. But
but we're not God. We can't say lama, why. We can say lama, what do we need to do, for what purpose, and continue to push forward. Sreuvi, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. Continue fighting the good fight, and hopefully we should only share good things and good news with each other. Sreuvi, thank you so much.